And we are live.
Yippee!
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Father Leo, it has been about 1 month since my last stream. It has actually been 1 month. I have actually looked at the date, and it was December 16th was stream 6.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's been a while. Do you remember what's happened?
I mean, I assume so.
Yeah, it's honestly a bit foggy for me.
I remember that we got into some shit with Margaret and Catherine with a K.
Yep.
Catherine, one might say.
Mm-hmm.
Angela pulled a knife on us.
Yep.
That's about it, but I think that was about it.
We tried to have a vision with Darcy. We tried to explain our vision to Darcy. Um,
hmm
in her room, we knocked over Moira's ink bottle. Um, I don't know. It's been a while. But if I remember correctly, this should be the last stream of Volume 1. So there's always
Sweet.
that to look forward to. And
Oh, I'm
after
sure we can
this.
manage to stretch it to 2. Don't you worry.
And after this, I am completely blind, so that I'm excited. I don't know anything about Volume 2. But yeah, let's get this show on the road. Incident, however, was not too. Wait, did it. Why does it say baths? Oh no, did I mess up? I think I messed up. Okay,
Yup.
there it is. I awoke with a start. That damn knocking when the walls was back. I looked out the window to see the moon was high in the sky. At the very least, I could thank the creaky old building for waking me up at the right time for this party. I groaned and rolled out of bed. I really should have stripped down before sleeping. I felt too warm and a bit pasty despite the cold night breeze coming through my window. I adjusted my clothes the best I could. On my way out, I nearly tripped over Medea, which I had picked up and put on the writing desk next to my desiccated copy of Matthew. I was getting a little tired of having books of odd import lying around my dorm room, let me tell you.
Hello, Hedwig.
He- Hello, Catherine, with a K. Margaret, we should go.
Yes, we should.
They looked oddly serious. Moira emerged from her dorm room as well. She looked rejuvenated since the last I saw her. A nap had done her some good.
Hello. I gotta figure out how to do this again. Shall we? I'm not looking for. She can stay away for a scene or two. I
you've
suppose we must.
you've had a month to recover your voice. Moira looked
Yeah, but
surprised.
3 weeks ago I was sick.
Moira looked surprised by Catherine with a K's maudlin tone. We traveled to the cellars together in silence. The abbey looked quite mysterious at this time of night. The pale blue light of the moon was competing with the flickering orange torchlights. As we approached the cellar, I realized just how close we were to the superior's office. Is is this really wise? Surely the noise will carry.
I doubt it. We'll be deep in the cellars, and these walls are thick. Not to mention that bloody great door of hers.
I doubt she'd mind. It's all for Kate. It's all for Catherine with the C, after all. Of of course. Only a few torches down the cellars had been lit. I could already hear music echoing around the cool underground walls, as it was altogether rather eerie. A sort of fortress of casks had been erected around what appeared to be the designated celebration area, and a few of the barrels had been arranged like the little tables carrying wineskins and cups. Adela had one with the makeshift tables to herself, and was playing some sort of card game with Sister Charity. Whatever the game was, it finished as we approached. Adela flipped a card over, causing Charity to erupt into giggles.
Hello, everyone. Would any of you care to see the future? No, thanks.
Catherine with a K and Margaret made non-committal grunts and left me alone with Adela, who was already shuffling the cards.
You should. It's not half bad. I was already planning to leave early, and I gotta. What was it you said, Adela dear? Your present card was the Three of Cups inverted. In that position, it can refer to a lack of time to socialize. Dead on, isn't it? Anyway, I can't stay. These old bones won't survive staying up too late. I just wanted to raise a glass in poor Catherine's name at least.
She was really quite drunk already.
You should stick around for just a short while longer. I believe we are giving a toast to Catherine in just a few minutes. Oh, you've talked me into it.
She toddled off.
Well, would you like a glimpse of the future, Sister Hedwig?
I'm not sure I like the look of this. Is this some kind of Iberian custom we shouldn't be playing around with? Adela frowned as she continued shuffling her deck of cards.
This is an Italian pastime my mother enjoyed, Sister Hedwig.
Oh, I felt rather embarrassed. I kept doing this sort of thing. I decided that agreeing to participate would be the best mea culpa and I could offer, despite the misgivings I had with the activity. Go, go on then. She rapped the cards against the table sharply.
I will turn over 3 cards. The first card will represent your past. The second will describe your present. And the third card will give you a hint of your future. Are you ready?
This was silly. Yeah, let's try it.
The Seven of Cups. It represents illusions, imagination, creativity. But as you can see, it is inverted.
From where I am standing, I suppose.
This is about your perspective, so yes, it is inverted. This card represents your past. You were in yourself for a long time, were you not? You spent a lot of time with nobody but yourself. Nothing but your own imagination. Clinging to this past will not help you.
I
Your second card, the present. I have revealed the world. Once again, it is inverted. In this reversed position, the world represents your inner torment. You are secluded. You are lonely. You are withdrawn
Oh, now you're just being mean.
because something has been troubling you, yes?
Y- yes?
Something you need to get to the bottom of. Something that has been preoccupying you ever since you left your cell. Am I correct?
Uh, yes.
Of course I am. You were alone in your cell for many years, and now you have been set adrift. That conflict has been eating away at you and driving you further inward.
No,
The world in reverse, believe it or not, could be a good sign, Sister Hedwig. It represents your current state. You may yet find the answer to your questions within yourself. Choose a final card, and we shall see.
I pointed to the topmost card of the pile. I did not particularly care for this game, and I wanted it to be over as soon as possible. Oh,
The Queen of Swords. Reversed. All of your cards have been reversals, Sister Hedwig. That is interesting. I think you had the deck upside down.
is is it dangerous?
No. A reversed Queen of Swords in this position means you will continue to have a hard time moving forward into the future. You must make some decisions, Sister Hedwig. This Queen in reverse suggests to me that you must find some strength inside yourself to move beyond your current predicament. Perhaps there is something small you can think of and change.
I I will have a think on it. I desperately wanted to leave the table, but Adela was shuffling the card pile again.
Let us ask the cards a question. Think hard, Sister Hedwig. What would you ask the cards?
I
You do not need to speak it aloud. Ask the question yourself and then pick a card.
I hated this game, but I didn't want to upset Adela. I had already seen a real vision today. I reasoned that I had the strength to endure this silly little pagan ritual for one more round. If I could not be flippant openly, I decided I would ask these cards something disdainful, if only in my own mind. Is this real? That's what I landed on. I gestured to the bottommost card of the pile, and that I could see peeking out from beneath the others.
Let's see. The High Priestess. That is interesting.
What does it mean?
Well, to be honest, I think this card is imbued with such mystery that your answer is unclear.
I did not like this answer at all. I stared at the card, deep in thought. I felt oddly similar to looking at my reflection in the bath.
Isn't it funny how every card is imbued with enough mystery to mean whatever you like?
I jumped. I hadn't noticed Eustace looming.
The cards have malleable meanings, it is true. That makes them better at their intended purpose, not worse. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't disagree with you there.
Adela shot Eustace a nasty sneer. I was relieved that someone else was the target of her ire now, at least.
Do you not have any sense of wonder? No love of mystery? The church holds plenty of mystery for me. Isn't that right, Hedwig?
No,
Hmm. It is a wide world, and I believe we must be flexible if we wish to spread the faith around it.
I opened my mouth to refute this, but I caught myself before saying anything. There was no need to draw Adela's attention back to me. I may have found this talk blasphemous, but at the end of the day, I was a bigger coward than I was a devout Catholic. Another thing I was coming to loathe about myself.
We'll leave you to it. Hedwig hasn't even gotten a drink yet, isn't that right?
Y- yes.
Goodbye then.
She busied herself with her cards. Eustace tugged my sleeve and pulled me away from the table, although I did not need much convincing.
She can get a bit funny about her hobbies.
I'm surprised she is allowed to bring fortune telling here. Those cards are blasphemous, surely.
I'm not sure Adela thinks that hard about these things beyond the aesthetics. I would call her an hmm, easily distracted traditionalist.
Hmm. She led us to a free table near the edge of the makeshift room with thus far untouched cups and then began pouring 2 drinks.
You've had a long day.
Indeed, I have.
How are you feeling?
She nudged a full cup in my direction, which I took with a quickness that surprised even myself. Tired, but also very, very awake. Like I could sleep forever, or never again.
Darcy was the same way when she started having visions.
So, you believe me now?
I said I believed you, that you believed you had a vision. Ultimately, what I think does not matter.
She drummed her fingers at the top of the barrel cum table. She stared off in the distance, deep in thought.
I want you to know that I'm looking out for you. Do you understand that?
In, in what sense?
I can't say, but I promise it isn't out of disrespect. I'm not being condescending.
She was being very condescending.
You being at a wake for Catherine, it feels quite strange, uncomfortable. And I felt similarly about you working in the library as well. I keep glancing up from my work, expecting to see her sitting across from me, writing God knows what. But instead, I see you.
Hmm.
And that isn't your fault, to be clear. But it stings every time.
I I can only apologize. I am no replacement for her. I was never trying to be.
I was very angry when I first heard that you had volunteered for her old position. What a climber, I thought. You regretted taking such extreme vows and jumped on a rare opportunity to leave.
I know several other sisters think the same way.
I don't think that anymore, just so you know.
What what changed your mind?
You are fucking miserable. This wasn't something you wanted, was it?
She peered at me through her thick glasses. I knew that there was no way I could lie. She was clearly comfortable in her deduction already. No.
The superior put you up to something, didn't she?
Yes.
I wish she hadn't.
I I sometimes feel the same.
She wanted some objective eyes and ears, I take it? She's not satisfied with the conclusion that that man killed her.
Yes. That's it exactly.
Of all her idle interests, this is easily the most annoying.
She poured herself another drink.
What could convince you to just give it up?
Oh?
That's why I tried to scare you, But you're braver than I thought.
Nothing.
Oh, please. There must be something.
No! There there isn't. I I don't think it was James either.
How could you possibly have an opinion on this? You never met either of them.
That's not true. Catherine with a C came to my hagioscope several times.
Yes, to talk about what? Plays? You didn't know Catherine. Not the way I did. Nor anything close to the myriad connections she had with everyone here. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you picture her?
Companionship. Someone who I could talk to about scripture on a level no one else ever has.
Yes, she was very good at leveraging people's interests.
I I know she left a few sisters hurt when she moved on from certain interests. Are you one of them?
Hmm, no, but that is certainly an opinion several people here may have.
So you admit you have some knowledge of the situation. Why is it, then, that you want me to ignore all of this so badly? Eustace looked around to make sure nobody was within earshot, and then leaned across the barrel to speak in a harsh whisper.
Poking around for perceived conspiracies is what got her killed, and I don't want the same to happen to you. You or anybody else.
Wha What do you mean? You don't think James killed her?
I didn't say that.
Then Eustace leaned away suddenly. I intuited that she had seen someone approaching out of the corner of her eye, and bit my tongue. Hello.
Is this wineskin still full?
Eustace began pouring wine for the two of them. They took their cups and settled them with us. The conversation with Eustace, it seemed, was over for good.
Has Adela read everyone's fortunes yet?
She told me I had a lot of anger in my past. Too right.
Did you know that the death card doesn't always mean something bad? I nearly screamed when she showed me that one.
I'm not sure the cards actually mean anything.
They can mean everything, which is just as unhelpful. Still, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? As long as we don't take it too seriously.
Margaret chugged the rest of her drink down and slammed a cup on the table. Right. I suppose I should get back to the loot. She left the table and used to scoot it around to better talk with both Moira and I.
What's got Catherine in such a bad mood, do you think?
Catherine's dead.
Well, I guess that would do it.
She
Oh, come on,
gestured.
you knew which one I meant.
She gestured towards a tall woman who was leaning against the barrel all by herself, looking positively ashen.
Huh, that's not like her. Not at all. Do you do you think we should ask her? Maybe later. Not now. I'd rather wait until she's got less wine in her.
I made contact with Catherine with a K by accident while the others were talking. She sighed deeply, then looked away to pour herself another cup.
That's really not like her.
I had in fact seen Catherine with a K in a similar state of the Misericorde not very long ago, when she had been staring into the fire and lamenting her lot in life. She had alluded to her old home life then. Now that knew the rumors surrounding her exit from the village, I had a sinking feeling that this was about what was bothering her.
You don't, um, think she really did what they say, do you? Kill her husband?
Moira and I both coughed into our drinks.
No, I don't think she did. Oh, no, nor me. It's a bit odd. I don't think she's that kind of odd. Look who's talking.
Laura had arrived without anyone noticing and looked ready to pick a fight for her. Some reason. Eustace turned around to address her curtly.
I never said I wasn't odd, but I think we can all agree Catherine and I are different kinds of odd. Yes, the one with the K, Hedwig. Never mind. Wine me.
Moira obliged immediately, lifting up the wineskin to pour a mug for the impatient young woman.
Go easy on the stuff this time. You're not my mother. Thank God for that.
Laura stuck out her tongue at Eustace and left, presumably to go bother somebody else. Flora is always cut off by the frame. I think this is like the third or fourth scene where she's just been off screen. It's cracking me up.
Well, she just kind of walks up. I don't think she's ever in frame in like the game either. Like I
she
feel
is
like in every
for
conversation.
she is
Yeah,
for a
but in
few
like every
scenes.
conversation, she's just. I mean, like in these parties and stuff.
I don't. That's a good
Like
point.
three people are in a circle, and she's just kind of like awkwardly off to the side.
That is a good point.
But yeah. Ah, Christ. I know it's normal for young nuns to act out, but she's been acting out for a long time now.
I bristled with a curse, but the insinuation that Eustace found Flora's behavior somehow beneath her bothered me more. I opened my mouth to say something about it, but Moira got there first. It's probably for the best. She was always more tactful than me.
You like to act out too, Eustace. Just in a more elaborate way, I guess. My pranks have always been elaborate and thought-provoking.
What thought was dressing up as a ghost meant to provoke?
Ghost!
We all laughed. Even Eustace. I wish I knew how to do that sort of thing. If I had been left to my own devices, I would have likely started another argument with Eustace. Woman to woman, Eustace and I had a relationship that seemed liable to fall apart at a moment's notice. With Moira around, I felt part of an inseparable trio. Eustace glanced across the room at Margaret, who was fiddling with her lute while standing on top of a crate. Catherine with a K had wandered around onto the makeshift stage as well, and still looked a bit dour. Her and Margaret exchanged a few words. Neither of them looked thrilled, honestly. Finally, Margaret shrugged. Catherine with a K sighed, then appeared to pull herself together somewhat miraculously. Margaret strummed a chord and spoke loudly at everyone gathered in the cellar. Everyone! I know we have some very important drinking to do, but there's someone who won't be joining us tonight who we need to pay tribute to. A murmur of approval echoed around the room. Someone who can't join us ever again.
It has been several weeks since we lost our dear sister, Catherine the Second. I am sure she'd be delighted to see all of you here. Annoyed, perhaps, at a few of you, but that's nothing a few drinks couldn't fix. I'm sure of it.
Everyone chuckled, but I was left confused. What sort of morning was this?
We will never have a sister like her. I dare say there isn't a convent in the country who will. In the world, most likely. I miss having the competition. Her and I had unparalleled beauty, wit, and grace. I came out on top, of course, but it was very close.
More laughter.
But she handily bested me at other things. Her boundless love for others, her endless interest in all manner of scholarship, her frankly rabid hatred of Italians,
Everyone found this one particularly hilarious, but I was more lost than ever.
and the Spanish, or was it the Portuguese? I can't remember. She certainly got her licks in on the English as well, which,
She raised her mug into the air, and the crowd followed suit.
fair play. Fair play to all of it, I suppose. Where else but England would Catherine II get stuck with a convent full of Spaniards and Italians? She was Irish, of course.
Moira put her hands together in front of her mouth and let out an approving howl as loud as I flinched. So loud I flinched. Everyone else found this very amusing.
She liked to remind us of that whenever she could. I once asked her, why not go back to Ireland then, when I was particularly irritated with some of her good natured ribbing. And, and I swear this is true, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "My dearest Catherine," ignoring the fact that I must remain here as a nun, I would never consider Lynbarrow anything less than my home. How very trite, I thought. I still do, most of the time. Lynbarrow rarely feels like a home to me. The hallways are drafty. What little work there is to do is tedious, and the tedium only increases when there is no work left to do. It rains all the time, and it's freezing cold even when the sun is shining. That all being said, I realized something recently. I may grouse about this place, and I'm certainly not going to stop, but Lynbarrow certainly feels like less of something without Catherine II around. And I think perhaps if she considered it a home, I could too. So, so maybe it is home, for better or worse. I miss her, and I think I would miss all of you just the same were any of you to leave. Most of you.
The crowd laughed again. Catherine with a K raised her mug and began pounding at people in front of her.
Charity. What will you miss most about Catherine II? I'll miss chatting with her about the past. Nobody else here wants to hear it. Too bloody right. Marta,
I'll miss her assistance in the cellars.
Laura, I'll miss having a real friend. Adela, I will miss having a sparring partner. Hold on to that one. I doubt you'll ever duel someone again. You two were complete madwomen. Eustace, I will miss our conversations in the library. Someone Eustace enjoyed talking to. What a rare person she was. I think we only have one other here like that. Darcy,
Sorry, what was the question?
what are you going to miss most about Catherine the Second?
I will miss having someone to discuss ghosts and spirits with.
Steady on. Moira, I'll, I'll miss her accent.
She was choking back tears. Everyone chuckled sympathetically at her silly answer.
It was a little taste of home, I'm sure. Hedwig, only joking. Margaret,
I could have shrunk into a mote of dust. I will miss playing music with her.
and we'll all miss hearing it. Speaking of, Margaret, you did say Catherine wouldn't be joining us tonight, but perhaps if we drink hard enough and sing loud enough, she'll join us. Am I right? Come now. If I can't hear you, she certainly won't. Am I right?
Everyone began stomping and clapping. Some people were banging on barrels to make extra noise. It was so raucous that I was worried the superior might descend the stairs to chastise us all, but nobody else seemed to mind. The evening descended into chaos from there. I had no idea what I was meant to do. Once Catherine with a K's little speech was concluded, there didn't seem to be much else in the way of eulogizing at this wake. The sisters were all drinking, laughing, playing chess, and reading fortunes from the demonic deck of cards. Frankly, I felt sick. I stood at the edge of the cellar next to one of the barrels, holding a mug that I took the smallest sip from every now and then. I felt even more out of place here than I had in the Misericorde. I was confused by the realization that that place, which was designated specifically for rule breaking, had felt less debauched than what I saw before me. Margaret played her lute for what seemed like hours, taking breaks only to swig whatever drink Catherine with a K handed to her. Catherine with a K seemed herself seemed to be in a better mood than earlier, although she might simply have been too drunk to feel anything. Even Moira was acting far more depraved than I was used to seeing. She was dancing like mad, bumping into people and cheering and banging on barrels to create a makeshift percussion section for Margaret. Adela had her way of made her way over to me, smiling.
How are you doing all the way over here?
Oh, I'm just tired. That's all.
Come and join in.
I'd rather not. I'm happy here.
Do you feel out of place?
I just didn't know Catherine with a C that well.
You're not here because of how well you knew Catherine. You're here because everybody likes you.
What's rubbish? I didn't know what to say to her, so I took a sip of my drink at a feeble attempt to hide.
You need to trust what the card said. Allow yourself to discover where you belong.
I nodded in a non-committal way. Mercifully, this mercifully, this seemed to satisfy Adela, who danced off back towards the rest of the group. I could hear wood scraping against stone. Moira had pushed a crate next to Margaret and began clambering atop it clumsily.
Every, everyone,
She wobbled and nearly lost her balance until Margaret caught her.
thank you. Everyone, I think, I think it's time we properly welcome our new chronicler.
She pointed at me drunkenly, and I froze. Everyone turned and raised their mugs to me.
It could never be replaced. But, but Hedwig is a lovely new presence here. Don't you all think?
I was practically begging to be struck down by a lightning bolt. Anything to end this embarrassment. The feast had been bad enough, but seeing the sisters fully uninhibited, smiling at me, seemingly entirely earnestly as they toasted me, it made my blood boil. I don't really know why, it just felt wrong. But looking at all these drunken, drooping faces gawping at me, I wasn't sure I wanted their approval.
Hey, cheers for Hedwig. Hup, hup, hup. Yeah.
I was rescued by an ugly sound. Flora had wandered over one of the casks and attempted to open it, only to break the bung completely. Flora! What are you doing?
The skin was empty. I was gonna get more, and it just broke.
Adela and Marta stormed over to the barrel to attempt to help. Flora was covered in red wine. Her wimple was undoubtedly ruined. You really are a piece of work, girl.
That is not even the wine we are drinking. I bloody hope not. It smells awful.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. It it broke on its own, more or less. You ripped the whole faucet out. How did you even manage that? I barely touched it.
You're a bad worker and a worse liar. Get out of my way.
Whatever. This was Sister Catherine's first batch of sherry, wasn't it? Of all the casks to break. Well, this one is gone for good.
Marta yanked Flora toward her by the scruff of her neck and smacked her face with raw power I wouldn't have expected from her. What do you have to say for yourself? Marta raised her hand again, but everyone rushed forward.
That's enough, Marta. It was an accident.
Marta let go of Flora and walked away to join Charity on the other side of the room. The cask was still gushing wine onto the floor. Everyone started inching backward to give the dark liquid a wide berth. Moira tried to pull Flora aside to comfort her, but the younger nun sprinted past her towards the cellar stairs. What? What should we do?
There is not much we can do now. It will soak into the stone. Some got onto the casks beneath it, too. Those are probably ruined now as well.
Just, just from having something poured on it.
This is a delicate business. What was that you said about it soaking into the stone? It will, believe it or not. Although, a mop would not go amiss. No. Let it. What?
What are you talking about?
This is Catherine's sherry, right? The wine she worked on when she tried her hand at winemaking. We should. We should let the Abbey have it. You mean Catherine made this? If there's a piece of her soul, or spirit, or essence, I don't know, then the Abbey should drink it. All of it. She can be part of the Abbey forever. Not just stuck in some barrels. Eustace! That is a beautiful idea. I have never known you to speak with such poetry. I have my moments. I I agree. What a beautiful way to honor her memory. It is certainly unique. Befitting, I suppose. When you say all of it, Sister Eustace. All of it. Anything Catherine made.
Mood had soured somewhat when Flora had broken the cask, but a new buzz of activity was starting.
Should we just pop the rest open? You all are far too drunk to be making decisions like this, I'm sorry. Let's smash them.
That is more like it. A cheer went around the room. Should I get an axe from the workshop?
Good idea. No, I have a better idea, Eustace. Why not use Catherine's sword? Oh, isn't that dangerous? Absolutely. No more or less than an axe.
Red spears.
I would really prefer the axe, I think. Spears are more effective than both. I'll get Catherine's sword if it spares us a lecture on troop tactics.
Everyone except Catherine with a K whooped and clapped. Is that not rather ghoulish? She was killed with it. The mood soured instantly.
Oh, hmm. You know, I think that is exactly why we should use it. Should her sword's last act be so grisly? We have a chance to wield it to celebrate her.
I resisted the urge to point out that the sword's most recent acts were to slaughter a goat and scare me silly. That actually makes some sense to me.
I I agree. It's fitting. Mm, I'll go and get it. Back in a moment.
Catherine with a K's mood had turned again. Nearly everyone else seemed convinced of this ridiculous idea. However,
Think we'll be getting on. It was a lovely night, but I'm too old for all this. We need our beauty sleep, don't we, Marta?
waste of good wine. I I'm sure we don't really need to do this. Do what you like. Good night, everyone. They left. Margaret was huddled in conversation with Catherine with a K again. They both looked quite serious, but Margaret was strumming a tune idly to cover what they were conversing about. Finally, Eustace emerged from the shadows once more. She carried the terrible blade with her. When the nuns invested in their cask-breaking plan started cheering, she held it aloft. Even Catherine with a K joined in. Her dark mood had once again evaporated. She had turned back into the Catherine with a K I was used to seeing.
Right. Who wants to go first? Let me take a swing. It should be Hedwig. Of course, that is a much better idea. Very fitting.
Oh, no, I couldn't. Go on, Hedwig. Eustace approached me and held the sword out as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The pommel toward me, the blade resting at her side, balanced flat on her palm.
Now, be very careful. Grasp it firmly with both hands.
Everyone was looking at me expectantly. Firmly grasp it. I
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hedwig! Hedwig! Hedwig!
Hedwig, Hedwig, Hedwig.
Hedwig! Hedwig!
Everyone began chanting in unison, even Eustace. There was nothing else for it. I took the sword in my hands, and everyone cheered.
Peer pressure. How does it feel?
It's much lighter than it looks. I saw my reflection in the blade. It was an odd sensation. I suddenly felt very powerful. I turned over with a quick little flip. It felt so natural. I hadn't even held a sword for a minute, but I already felt as if I were equipped to take on the world. I was surprised to discover that there was an engraving in Hebrew on the side of the blade near the crossguard. How odd, I thought. While I could recognize the script, I could not read it. I didn't have long to muse over it, however.
Step over here. Careful now. To this cask, Sister Hedwig. Everybody else should stand back. Now, lift it up.
I was not really listening. I knew what to do. With a speed that it evidently surprised Adela, I swung the blade down onto the top of the barrel in front of me.
Not bad, but you must swing it more confidently.
But I
Try.
was already swinging the blade down again. The barrel gave way, and red sherry came bursting forth all. Everyone cheered. The wine was all over my wimple and frock, but there was nothing I could do about that. I gave the broken barrel a few more gleeful hacks before Adela stayed my arm, laughing.
Give someone else a turn. Who wants to go next? There are just enough casks for all of us to do one, I think.
Everyone clamored around. Adela held her hand out to me expectantly.
The sword? Hedwig?
Oh, yes, of course. I handed the sword back to her gingerly. I didn't want to let it go. The crackling energy didn't subside, thankfully. Adela took her turn next. She began her assault on the cask in front of her with a violent thrust into the dead center of the lid, as if she was attempting to pierce a wooden shield. The tip of the blade wedged itself between two of the planks, and she pressed forward with a slight twist. The entire lid buckled and split apart immediately. Adela was covered head to toe by the red sherry. She giggled, then held the sword aloft similar to the way Eustace had, and gave a mighty war cry.
That is how it is done.
The sisters present all clapped for the expert swordswoman, and she gave a little bow and held the sword out for the next contestant. Catherine with a K stepped forward. The end of her cloak drifted atop a flood of wine that was spreading rapidly outward from our position.
I suppose tomorrow will be laundry day. We might need to get new frocks. It's worth it.
One by one, the rest of the sisters attacked their designated wine casks. Catherine with a K opened with a horizontal swing that the rest of us instinctively ducked. She apologized and instead popped her cask with a wicked diagonal strike that crushed the angle where the lid and rim met. She hacked away at the opening until the lid splintered apart completely. Moira's turn took a moment to get going. Whereas I had been surprised on how light the sword felt, she clearly found it rather heavy. It was somewhat comical when she took the sword from Catherine with a K and nearly fell over when the taller woman let go. She chopped away at the top of the barrel as if she were splitting firewood. It took some doing, but she got there eventually, and we all clapped and cheered as she gave a slightly embarrassed bow. Eustace dispatched her cask with shocking efficiency, however. In 7 rhythmic strikes, left, right, top, top, thrust, BA, start, she completely shattered the lid. She hit it more times than Adela, but both of them were easily the most practiced. Darcy held her sword by the blade when she stepped up, prompting all of us to rush forward to stop her. All save for Adela, who had been arguing that this was perfectly valid technique.
They are far too drunk for this, as I said. You'll hurt yourself.
I wrap my hands in my sleeves, it will work.
A pommel strike is actually very efficient, especially given these barrels. Darcy is not a soldier. She's going to.
Darcy gave the bung of a barrel a surprisingly swift bat with the rounded bottom of the sword handle while the others were arguing. It toppled free instantly, spraying around with sour-smelling sherry. Easy. Eustace gave her friend a withering look.
Good work, Darcy. I told you. Margaret, it's your turn.
Catherine with a K had to call across the room to get Margaret's attention. I had not noticed that she had wandered off so afield.
Margaret?
Margaret did not answer. She was sitting in the bottom of the staircase, back up to the cloister, her head buried in her arms.
Perhaps she dozed off. It is rather late. And she volunteered to ring the bell tomorrow.
However, Margaret was not asleep. She lifted her head up from the depths of her cloak and stared at us balefully, with glistening eyes. I
You gotta
wanted
move
this.
that mouse.
Yeah. I've been clicking the space bar this entire time and I just had to press the right mouse button to figure it out, I guess.
Fair enough.
I wanted to say something to apologize, even though I had no idea what I would be apologizing for. Something about this impromptu cask smashing ritual bothered her, although I had no idea what had prompted a reaction this strong. Marta was closely connected to the wine after all, and she had merely given us a stern goodbye. Margaret looked as if to be in pieces, however. I felt awful. I did not get a chance to say something, though. Catherine with a K coaxed her friend away privately, and they disappeared up the staircase into the darkness, while the rest of us said awkward farewells.
Long night, I think. But was smashing all those a bit, gosh, disrespectful to Catherine's memory, perhaps? I didn't intend it that way. Hopefully she understands that. It was a good idea, Sister Eustace.
We climbed the staircase together, then turned back towards the cellars to admire our handiwork. Moira started giggling.
The Superior is going to kill us. Let her try. We've got the sword. That was the most spiritually satisfying thing I've done in ages. Ah, Sister Flora. What about Flora? She did not get a chance to join us. She broke the first cask. What are you talking about? It was her actions that inspired the whole exercise. We should find her. There's one cask of Catherine's awful sherry left, I believe. I suppose it'd only be fair. Good thinking. I'll check the cloister and the garden. Maybe she's just getting some fresh air. I will scour the dorms and kitchens. I'll make a round of the grounds. Helig?
I I'll search wherever is left. The chapel?
Adela can cover the chapel. That's closer to the kitchens. You should check the rest of the upstairs, maybe? The hallways and such.
By my old cell?
Exactly. Let's meet back here once we're finished looking, eh?
I did not adore this idea, but it wasn't about to argue with Eustace in front of Adela and Moira. We tri- we traipsed up the stairs and went our separate ways. Eustace was still carrying the sword with her, swinging it idly by her side as if it were any old thing. As I found myself alone in the dark passageways, I began to wish I had a weapon as well. That hot rush of power holding that sword had provided had rapidly dissolved in the cold night air. I walked down the hall towards the intersection I had seen Eustace's horrible ghost visage with caution. The wind was picking up. I could hear the big door rattling again in the distance. I thought about peeking outside, but there was no chance that Flora was out on the wall when it would be this cold and windy. That's how I excused myself anyway. In truth, I did not want to be startled by the door slamming again. Flora? I turned the corner towards the door. Flora! I could hear something strange underneath the wind. It was a higher pitched and irregular in rhythm. It came from down the dark passageway to my cell. I braved a few steps to confirm it. I was sure of it. The sound got louder the further I walked. The hair on my back of my neck stood up straight. If Eustace was busy in the garden, then there was no way this could be a tired retread of her old jokes. It was an unearthly wail. It echoed around the whole hall, bouncing from wall to wall, pillar to pillar. I thought about the passageway Margaret had shown me, the demonic circle etched into the stone. The Barghest! I could not bear it one moment longer. I turned tail and sprinted out of the hall. Whatever that noise was, I told myself, it couldn't have been her.
No joy?
Eustace was already waiting when I arrived back into the cellar staircase. I shook my head as I came to a stop. Nothing, I'm afraid.
I couldn't find her either. It's too dark to see out there without a proper torch, and all I had was a little candle. I doubt she's outside at all, to be honest. Too damned cold.
It is, isn't it? We stood in silence for a moment.
I trust tonight gave you some catharsis?
Oh, very much so.
Good. I think we can call that the end of it.
She looked down the stairs into the darkness.
Goodbye, Catherine.
I didn't know what to say. She had pivoted from slightly threatening to slightly forlorn so quickly I had no recourse. I I think breaking the casks was a very sweet idea.
Do you? That's good. I didn't take you as someone for impromptu ritual.
No, but this felt right.
It did, didn't it?
I said whatever I could to steer the conversation away from where this started. I wanted Eustace to be satisfied that I could adhere to her request to stop searching. I did not want to leave the lie about I did not want to have to lie about it out loud again. Adela arrived next. She was alone as well.
I could not find her. Me either.
Moira was just behind Adela, jogging back to our meeting spot.
Oh well, we tried. That's likely good enough. Agreed. I would have felt bad if we did not at least make an effort. I do hope she's somewhere safe. This is a big abbey, and she is a crafty young woman. I am not worried. She is sulking. She probably does not want to be found. No, it's very late. We should call it a night.
Are any of them more wine covered than usual? I don't think so.
No, Adela always looked like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Moira, but I think that's about. I think her portrait's mirrored from
Yeah, that's
when we
probably
last saw
it.
her.
So none of them are splattered with actual blood. Interesting.
No. Laura will find her way to bed, I'm sure. The Superior is already going to have a conniption when she sees the state of the cellars. I dread to think what she'll do if we all sleep through service.
Yes, we can't miss service. We walked up the stairs back to the dorms in silence. We said our goodnights in the dorm hall and retired to our separate rooms. For once, I fell asleep swiftly, but morning came far too soon. I think sleeping at all made things worse for me, truth be told. Have you ever had that experience? I can stay awake for quite a long time if I have to. But if I fall asleep, I need a proper full night of rest. I groaned when I woke up. I don't know how long I had even managed to sleep for. I got dressed and stuck my head out of the hallway, and my heart sank. There was no activity in the hall, and a few doors were ajar. I was late for service. I scurried down the stairs as quickly as I could. The rain clouds that had been looming last night had finally broken. I could see a dotted black line of nuns entering the chapel ahead of me. I thanked God I wasn't too late. As I made my way inside, I sensed that the mood was grim. I looked around at everyone. The sisters looked slightly haggard and paler than usual. Nobody was speaking. I did not see Flora anywhere. My heart sank. Margaret was sitting near the front of the chapel, her head resting on her closed fists. She had evidently gotten here first. I'm sorry, everyone. I volunteered to ring the bells this morning, but I forgot. She was staring straight ahead at something. Everyone looked so upset, I half expected to see a dead body lying on the altar as I got closer. However, Margaret was staring dead ahead at a crumpled pile of wooden wreckage sitting on the floor in front of her. The portative organ. Oh, Margaret, I I was trying to fix it. There was this piece that Catherine and with Catherine with a K and I would always take out for a laugh. I know you all know. And I thought to myself recently, this joke is wearing a bit thin. Maybe it's not the best time. I came back in here to pop the missing piece back in and crash. Nobody spoke.
Are you going to tell her?
God, no. If one of you wants to sell me out, feel free, but I'm not going to get myself into trouble. They gathered sisters awkwardly, looked at their seats, took their seats in the pews. We waited for a while, listening to the sound of the rain. I was trying to do something nice, and then it fell. I can't complain, I suppose. The door finally swung open again. I turned around to see the bishop holding it open for the superior. She glowered as she strode forward. Each of the footsteps echoed with a terrible and heavy thud against the chapel floor. After what felt like hours, she stopped in the middle of the room to address the woman sitting in the pews.
Mr. Flora is missing. If anyone would like to claim credit for hiding her away somewhere, then I would ask that you speak up now. I will be just and fair. I understand that this would not be the first time a practical joke went too far.
Nobody spoke.
I assume the mess in the cellars has something to do with it. I am offering clemency. Will nobody take responsibility for their actions? Very well. As your consciences recover, you may reclaim some decency by confessing to me privately in my office after service.
She looked around the chapel sternly. Everyone averted their gaze. With a sharp sigh, she moved forward toward the altar. Each footstep echoed terribly in my head. I could see Margaret tensing up ahead of me. There was a pause.
Oh, hell!
Everyone jumped. The superior had seen the portative organ. She flew up the steps to the altar in a rage.
Margaret? Catherine? Which one of you was it?
Silence.
Eustace? Who did it? I know it was one of you.
The room was utterly airless.
It had to be someone here. I mean, it could have been Flora. We don't have ghosts here. No spirits, boggars, or any other devilish creatures. I know. I know it had to be someone in this room. Who else could it have been? Hmm? You all protect each other. Don't for 1 second think I cannot see it. I scarcely know this place anymore. You all hide every aspect of it from me. It matters not if it's a missing bread roll, or a piece of my portative organ, or a murdered sister. Superior, are you not feeling well? No, Sister Moira, I am not feeling well. My youngest charge is missing. I pray to God she hasn't met the same fate as Sister Catherine. And do you know why I pray? Because I have a congregation of rats gnawing at my ankles. There is nothing you will allow me to do. I am supposed to be in charge. I am Mother Superior. But I understand who is really in control here. It is not me. It is all of you. Each and every one of you spend your days trying to find the cleverest little ways to defy my wishes and orders.
Perhaps we could take a moment to calm ourselves. Perhaps try to put this instrument of yours back together. I'm sure this young sister is simply paying truant. The superior raised a silencing hand to the bishop, who looked dismayed.
Is it very hard living here? Is it so difficult not having to want for anything? To not have to throw yourselves at some awful man or beg for money on the street? This place gives you everything. I give you everything. But it's never enough. You all have the run of the place for almost every hour of every day, but the baddest of responsibilities, the smallest courtesies, are too great an ask for you. Oh no, you could not possibly spend 30 miserable minutes listening to some liturgical music. You undoubtedly all have pressing plans today. I am certain they're important. Drinking yourselves into a stupor at the Misericorde, perhaps? Or are you all waiting to dance around Flora's body trussed up like a maypole? I have turned a blind eye to all manner of vices in my tenure here. Do not pretend I am unaware. Manly, selfish sodomites, the lot of you.
She loomed over the altar, breathing raggedly. Her eyes darted between all of the women present who squirmed. Uncom- her eyes darted between all the women present who squirmed uncomfortably and looked away.
I I just can't bear being treated this way any longer. Could any of you? How many of you could stand to live the way you all conspire to make me live? I took a peek into the cellars this morning. Broken barrels, wine all over the floor. It stunk to high heaven. I could deal with that on its own. I wouldn't stop you all from having your fun. But where is Flora? What happened? Hmm? Will no one come forward? Very well.
She stepped down from the altar. The bishop made to follow her. He looked gravely concerned. The superior looked straight ahead as she strode defiantly out of the chapel.
Service is concluded. Do whatever you like.
Mabel! The bishop turned around as he reached the door. He shot an apologetic glance around the room, then bounded after the superior as they swung shut. We were left in the dark. Sorry, I was a bit preoccupied last night. Where is Flora? An uneasy feeling was starting to build in the room.
We don't know. We looked for her last night after everyone left the cellar. We thought she should have a turn smashing the barrels with us.
Don't you dare blame me.
I wouldn't dream of it.
I don't like this. Me neither.
If she left of her own accord, Flora is responsible for her own choices. She may be the youngest one of us, but she is 19 years of age. Flora would have a family by now, were she not here. Responsibilities. She ran off after Marta hit her.
Don't you blame me for this.
I wouldn't dream of it. Thank you for setting me straight, Eustace. I merely assumed, as I was not there. Are you really going to make this about your lack of invitation? As if you would have enjoyed it. That is not what we are discussing. No, but you thought you could sneak in a complaint or two because you're an annoying cunt. Quiet!
Charity had stepped up to the altar. She looked rather commanding and deadly serious.
Listen to yourselves. There's only one thing that should be on anyone's mind right now. Finding Sister Flora. Hey?
Her question was met with a unanimous mumble of acknowledgement.
Last night, it sounded like a few people poked around looking for her. But now, all of us are here. No fighting now. We're all on the same side, aren't we? Us against the Superior. Let's split up and search this whole damn place for our Flora. At the very least, I want to be able to show the Superior that we can take care of our own. Eh?
Another approving murmur.
What was that passage Catherine liked to quote at times like this? Yes, the one with the C. Facta est autem et gut.
I was
I was
taken
cut off by
aback.
the narrator.
What on earth did Luke have to do with this?
I don't know, you skipped the text!
Nevertheless, I was impressed with the ease of with which Eustace recited the scripture.
Don't patronize me! Let me guess, you're gonna skip this one too?
Everyone else murmured.
Yeah, that's fine. Keep moving, narrator. I'm watching you.
Along with her. That is enough.
Yeah, I noticed. Lovely. Off we go then. Eustace, can you pull yourself together?
You said it word for word. Amazing. Just like it's written.
I still have access to the sword. Don't try me.
We all filed out of the church. There was an odd energy about, a sense of purpose. I was not entirely sure what had just transpired. I was turning towards the words from Luke over and over in my head as we began spreading throughout the cloister. Why that passage? What did those words mean to these women? And what did they have to do with finding the missing girl? I was baffled, but I was at least relieved to be free from the confines of the chapel. I decided to begin my search in the garden. Most of the others, it seemed, were headed towards the main building. I really did hope Flora was safe, but right now, I just wanted to be alone. I had had quite enough group discussion for one morning. Even in the rain, the flowers were quite lovely. They bounced up and down as raindrops hit them. There was a faint and pleasant rustling all throughout the grounds. I walked up and down the hedgerows. I was not sure what to expect. Would Flora jump out from behind a bush? Was I likely to find her sulking in the bed of carrots? I began to feel quite guilty. It wasn't helping. I was taking a relaxing stroll amongst the flowers. Campy had emerged from underneath the thicket in front of me. Seemingly unbothered by the rain, it sat in my path and leveled a curious stare my way. Go on, shoo! Al, you'll catch a cold in this weather. Do do cats catch colds? The cat flicked its tail back and forth and stared at me. It looked thoughtful. It felt like I was being sized up. I I suppose I should thank you. You took the blame for the ink bottle after all. Yes, I was losing my grip on things a bit, wasn't I? Talking to a cat. What was I thinking? It seemed to understand me, however, because vermin share a secret language. It walked forward and rubbed itself against my ankles, disappearing under my robe for just a moment. Don't touch me! It hopped to the side. The little creature trotted back to where it had been sitting before. Only this time, it didn't look at me. It turned its gaze up into the air and began to make an unpleasant chittering sound. I tilted my head up to see what it was looking at. I half expected to see those mysterious pennants again. But there was nothing. Only rain clouds and passing birds. When I looked down, the cat was gone. I sighed and peered into the sky once more, just in case I had missed whatever the little creature had seen. There was nothing amidst the clouds. However, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something on the parapet overlooking the garden. There it was again, looking straight at me. I bolted back to the way I had come, through the bushes and the hedges. I hoped I would disappear from the flowers. When I stopped to catch my breath, I looked back at the building in the distance. It was gone. I was safe from whatever it was. For the time being, anyway.
Enjoy the violets while you can. It'll snow soon.
Oh, hello, Eustace. Has Flora been found?
No. I just needed a break. I've been all around the grounds. Then I went to look in the library, but it's been locked since last night. No way Flora could be in there, thankfully. I was half expecting to find her scribbling rude drawings into your chronicles.
I'm not worried about that. I doubt anyone would want to tamper with my writing. Eustace pantomimed a mock shiver.
Horrible. I always worry about that. Hours of work undone.
Right. Well, a break can do a lot of good. Perhaps we'll think of somewhere else to look. We stood and admired the flowers together.
I have been meaning to ask you, how are you taking to chronicling? I can't help but notice that you still tend to finish quite early.
Oh, it's been no problem. I'm sure I'll come to my own once I've had a little more time practicing the fundamentals.
Hmm. As long as nothing's bothering you. I know we made up on the cart ride, but
Oh, no, not at all. I haven't given our little spat a second thought.
oh, that's good. I really am sorry about all that.
Her expression stayed as inscrutable as ever. There's no need. Sister Eustace, I have been sad about something else.
Flora will turn up.
No, it's not that. I'm afraid of Sister Catherine with a C. Catherine II, she had not left my thoughts, even when I was not party to the event.
Hmm?
Forgive me if I'm being going in circles here, but I've still been hearing so much about her, but at the same time, very little, if that makes any sort of sense.
It does. Although it doesn't surprise me. You weren't here. I mean, you were, but you weren't. I was gonna add in that line, but I figured it was gonna be next, and I was right. You don't really understand what she meant to us. You should be glad of that. Keep it that way.
No,
Hedwig, you must be exceedingly careful.
this isn't the first time you've cautioned me. What do you really mean?
I don't think I need to say more.
I I am afraid you must. Eustace gave me a piercing look for a few moments, but then relented with a small sigh.
Listen, I don't intend to be rude about it. You and I are very similar in some regards.
Were were you anchored at some point?
No, but we both bristle easily at misunderstanding, don't we?
I cannot disagree.
Conversation is difficult. I understand. I can sense the questions you're dancing around while talking to me, hoping that I'll answer without you asking.
N-
I just don't want you to wander into a situation you can't handle with someone else here. I can't fault your curiosity, but you must understand that losing Catherine II was shocking in many ways, for many people, for many reasons. Reasons that someone not deeply embedded in Lynbarrow could never understand.
and you're worried I'll upset someone?
More or less, I'm, I'm only trying to help you. I keep finding you swinging sticks around wasps' nests.
Do, do I come across that way? A little girl swinging a toy sword around?
Yes, the superior meant well, but she had a bit too much faith in her own clever idea, I think. I was able to figure out what you were up to. Someone else might catch up.
How can I not ask after Catherine with a C? She, she is nowhere, but she is everywhere. She has been brought up to me several times without me asking. She's inescapable. Even if I wasn't charged to investigate her death, I would have heard about her, and I would have been more curious. I've never even saw her body. I have no idea what she looked like, but nonetheless, everyone here has painted a picture of her in my mind.
Irish. Listen, if it helps, you can just ask me. Ask anything you'd like. You don't have to try and bait it out of me.
What happened the day it all happened?
Well, I had gotten up early to do some work in the library. Sister Charity found the body on her morning walk. She was beside herself. Catherine's body was in the middle of the cloister. She'd been beheaded, although later we discovered that wasn't her only wound. Evidently, there was a struggle between her and her attacker. Of course, we didn't have time to sit around and speculate. Marta comforted Charity, while the rest of us scrambled around looking for the killer. I checked upstairs, in the Misericorde and library. I reasoned that those might be good hiding places. I remembered Darcy checked the dormitories. It was a day like any other. It felt strange, as if we were all still working as normal, off doing our separate tasks, It was still just a morning at the Abbey. But I couldn't find anyone in the library. I went downstairs to the Superior's office. Apparently, I was the first to think of letting her know. She and Angela were still preparing for the morning's liturgy, but as soon as I told her what was happening, she joined the search. Eventually, we ran out of places to look that weren't already covered. I remember passing Adela coming up from the cellars, shaking her head. The Superior, Moira, and I attended to the body while the search continued throughout the grounds.
So, I'm thinking about how long was the conversation between the Superior and Angela? Because I
Well,
know
they
they
said
said it
all
went.
night.
Yeah, I'm just. Hmm, I don't know. I'm just wondering if Angela could have done it and then went to talk to the Superior.
How does Angela get the sword?
That's a good point. Catherine could have been using it for practice or something. It was Catherine's sword after all. She could have been fencing or sword practice.
If Catherine had a sword, how was she killed?
Ask
You
for
would
some
need a second
lessons.
sword.
Ask for some lessons. Hey, do you mind if I have a swing at the sword? And then just decapitate her.
Well, the decapitation clearly happened after death.
Hmm. Interesting.
They said it here. It wasn't her only wound.
It wasn't her only wound, but it could have been the killing blow still.
That's true, but
It's most likely
I don't know.
not, just to make things complicated.
Yeah. We took Catherine's body into the chapel and laid her under the altar and covered her with a blanket until we could arrange a burial. It is probably for the best that Moira and I handled it. I think the two of us have the strongest constitutions out of anyone here. Eventually, Sister Angela hauled a young man in on his ear, who we vaguely recognized as being our delivery boy. She said that she'd found him hiding in the east grounds. I stressed that it was normal for him to be here in the mornings, and that the commotion could have just scared him, but then Darcy wandered in holding his traveling cloak. It was covered in blood. She said she had seen it in his cart. And that was that. The Superior and Moira dragged the fellow to the hospitalum, and here we are, with a new chronicler.
They took him straight to the hospitalum.
Immediately, everyone looked ready to tear him to pieces. You should have heard what some of the sisters were shouting as the Superior left.
It just doesn't seem right. Although I suppose it was better to lock him away in a dungeon than leave him at everyone's mercy. I spoke to him, you know, in the hospitalum. I know he could be a simple liar, but he pleaded so earnestly. It felt so strange. It doesn't feel right to keep him there. Why does the hospitalum have a dungeon? Eustace's eyes narrowed. She stepped towards me without warning, pushing me into the flower bush uncomfortably.
Edwig, listen to me very closely. I thought I had made it clear, but apparently I am not getting through. Be careful.
She had me by the scruff of my robe, and even though she was slightly shorter than me, I felt terribly threatened.
Why can't you trust me? I am doing everything in my power to help you. Flora wasn't careful, and look where we are now. I do not want to see anyone else get hurt. I do not want to see you fall victim to your own meddling. I need you to stay out of this.
I don't know what you're talking about. Eustace,
Stay out of it!
I.
Leave it alone!
Her words seemed to echo around the garden for a few moments. Her demand even scared some of the birds away. Finally, she stepped off. She brushed off her robe, still looking at me intensely.
You have to trust me. Whatever the superior is putting you up to, you need to stop it. Please don't misunderstand me, Hedwig. I am on your side.
Do you believe James killed her?
Hedwig?
Do you believe it?
No,
Then, then surely you would understand that I can't just.
I can sympathize. But you need to let it go.
Are are you trying to find the truth as well? Maybe we can work together.
The most helpful thing you can do right now is nothing at all.
So you're just gonna let him take the blame? You let Catherine with a C die in vain?
You are treading on dangerous ground. Do you think me uncaring? Do you think this is easy?
I I think Catherine with a C would have wanted justice to be done.
You don't know a fucking thing about Sister Catherine. Not a thing. So don't pretend you know anything about what she would have wanted or what justice for her would look like.
I know plenty. I know she was good at chess. I know she was a sharp reader, and I know she had a keen sense of what it is and what isn't fair. I heard about her letters to France and her thoughts on money. I know she fancied her a warrior, herself a warrior, and tried to teach you all how to fight. I know she wanted everyone to try new things and think about what they could do in their own time on God's earth. And I know she liked plays.
All of that is correct. But it's like you said before. You know so much. But altogether, very, very little.
Well, then, what am I missing? I know that she's someone who wouldn't just be left in the lurch by her friends. I know people loved her. Surely that's enough.
That is only half of it. Hedwig, think about it. Everyone here loved her. Is that it? Has everyone been sharing stories about how wonderful she is?
Of course.
And you don't believe James killed her? You don't believe it was some random murder?
Neither do you.
And that's just it. Hedwig, if that man didn't kill her, then someone here did. Not a ghost, not a bear, one of the sisters here. And that means that the things people loved about her, that's only half the story.
You're you're saying someone is lying to me.
You will never find an answer because you will never fully grasp what her relationships here were like.
I just want the truth. For her sake. Eustace began to chuckle, and then laugh heartily. I was stunned. This this is in very poor taste.
I'm not laughing at you. I just.
What's gotten into you?
How could I possibly convey everything I know that you don't? The idea that you'd understand is just.
Oh, yes, you're so proud of how intelligent you are, aren't you?
The very thought of explaining what I know to someone who wasn't there. You didn't see her lying there. You can't possibly know.
Eustace? She was doubled over laughing now. It was a disturbing sight, to say the least, but it was her words that truly got under my skin.
You didn't see your friend covered in blood. What would you know about it? All you've ever done is read books. All you ever do is speculate. You're poking around in, in stories you have no stake in. Events you weren't there for. Isn't that right?
Are, are, are you quite alright?
You don't even know what she looked like. I saw her with my own eyes. Her head in her hands. Blood all over the place. I, I cleaned it all up. I was her dearest confidant, and I couldn't stop it. And you think you could do better.
You're. I didn't mean to. I didn't know what to do. I tried my best to assume a comforting stance, some sort of embrace, although my arms never made it around Eustace's body. She jerked her hands back and began to dry heave between her humorless, maniacal laughs.
I carried her by her legs with Moira, like two hale wenches carrying a drunkard home. Her head kept falling off. Can you imagine it? Your friend's severed head rolling off of her chest, bouncing on the stone, over and over, down the chapel's front stairs.
Stop it! You've made your point.
And you know what? For as brave a face as I put on, as stoic as I have to stay, even now, even I could not shake the feeling that even through her dead eyes, that she was looking straight at me. How how perfectly horrible it all was.
Just the idea is devastating.
Is it? Well, I saw it. I touched it. I was there.
Her hollow laughs had given way to bitter, dry sobs. I tried to pat her on the back, or something of the sort, anything that might comfort her. But she stood straight as soon as I touched her, brushing me away.
Promise me. Promise me you will stay out of it. Please.
Eustace,
This mess. It it's too much for me to bear. And I do understand the extent of it all. I was present for the whole affair, and I can't bring myself to do anything about it. I don't know who could be watching. I don't know what else might happen.
maybe that's why I can help. Why I should help. Eustace shook her head.
No, there's nothing you can do.
Nothing? I'm already. You don't know how much progress I've already made.
It can't be much if you're still standing here.
What's that supposed to mean?
Whatever sort of conspiracy is playing out here, it would have to be all consuming. I knew the instant the Superior announced you'd be joining us that it must have something to do with Catherine. If it was that obvious to me,
I know that I'm being watched. I've seen someone, perhaps more than one person, I can't know for certain, figures in the shadows.
that's always been me. My stupid practical joke. I did that. To scare you off. But it didn't work, clearly.
Maybe some of them, but I know it wasn't always have been you.
How? How could you possibly convince yourself of such a ridiculous...
Because I just saw them. She suddenly went very pale.
You?
On the top of that wall, not a quarter of an hour ago. Unless you can be in two places at once, it couldn't possibly have been you. Eustace wiped her face with her sleeve.
Maybe that was someone else I put up to scare you. Maybe this is all just another trick of
I
mine.
do not believe it is.
Then you should take my warnings even more seriously. Are there ghosts here? Devils? I don't know. But I know there is some malevolence at work in this place that is real. It is hurting people, killing them. And I am trying to help you stay out of its gaze.
Concern is noted. I know it is a dark force at work in this place. It killed Catherine with a C and has taken Flora. On that we can agree. But I'm not just doing this for the superior. If Flora never showed her face here again, how would you feel? If you have any decency, you must feel wretched just imagining it. I feel that way without Catherine with a C, and I never even met her. All I have is one of her books and some of your stories, so I know you must feel worse than I do. I'm scared, witless by the shadow I worry is creeping in the shadows, but it would be worse to ignore it. I am not going to let it stop me. Not them, nor you. I will not let the devil win. I held my blade in my hands. I held no blade in my hands, but at that moment I felt like I could have taken an army by myself. I breezed past the dumbfounded Eustace back towards the abbey. I put her behind me and walked as fast as I could. I could hear her shouting behind me as I put distance between us. Eustace, Angela, the superior, they were all making demands of me, but I served one and one alone.
Hedwig! Leave it be! Leave it alone! Hedwig! Listen to me!
The search continued well into the evening. As darkness fell, the weather turned foul. It was pouring now. The stone walls rumbled as rolling thunder shook the mountain itself. We had all gathered in the chapel again. From a quick glance around the room, I gathered that everyone had returned empty-handed. Charity took the altar again, looking grim.
No joy? That is, rather worrying. We've looked everywhere. I explored places I never had before.
Everyone had put a lot of work, it seemed. There had been no time to relax or get changed. Some of our frocks were still covered in wine. It would have been motivating had the situation been slightly less grim. The determination I had felt after my conversation with Eustace was being tested. I wanted to blurt out that I had a good idea of where Flora might be. We could all walk down that hallway together. Surely there was nothing so frightening down there as nearly a dozen women could not face. But if someone here was responsible for some grand plan that I did not understand, would I be putting Flora in more danger? Would I be placing myself in harm's way? Appearing too observant? Too clever? I could make myself the next target if I spoke up now. I tried not to think about which of these two arguments swayed me more. Stressing over my plan was putting my stomach in knots. I hoped someone else might suggest that I could not, but that was never going to happen. My cell was not, and had never, been on anyone's mind. My cell had never been in any of these women's hearts. As I looked around the room, I noticed that Marta was standing off to the side of the chapel alone. She looked gaunt and weak. I had been consistently surprised by her vigor up until now, but for the first time, she looked her age.
Ah, well, is there anywhere that has not been scoured? The cellars, the croft? Those were my first ideas. I see. And I know Adela looked in the same places after I did. I think that all of us may have individually checked everywhere, one after another. We've all doubled up. I do not doubt that people have put their back into it. Just, oh, I'm worried. I really hope she is safe. If only we had looked a little harder last night. It's not your fault. Missing for one night, that's just acting out. Missing for 2 nights. We have done everything we can today, I'm afraid. I think we all need to rest and try again tomorrow. My feet are killing me. Oh, we have to keep looking. I understand how seriously we're all taking this, but we should take a breather. A night's sleep is what we all need right now. We'll expand out beyond the grounds tomorrow, I think. I don't need any of you falling asleep and rolling down the hill. Flora missing is quite enough, thank you.
Everyone seemed to agree, albeit reluctantly. When I had left Eustace in the garden, a plan had formed in my mind. I had a sneaking suspicion where Flora was, but I dared not share it with the rest of the sisters. There was a place that I was certain nobody had checked. A place I knew even Margaret had likely avoided, even if she had considered it. The thought terrified me, but I knew I had to check, for Flora's sake. We all filed out of the chapel, back towards the dorms through the storm.
I really hope she isn't out in this weather. If she is, I would wager she is safe. She is young and resourceful. Remember when Catherine taught us all how to make fires? I do. You're right. She's probably having a more comfortable night than us.
Adela rubbed Moira's shoulder reassuringly, then broke off to go talk to Angela. Someone should tell the Superior what we did today. I wouldn't. I wanted to try to talk to her earlier, but I could hear her sobbing, even through that thick door of hers. I imagine she's getting shouted at by the bishop all day. I don't think we should talk to her until we have good news. Oh dear. Oh dear. The moment I sat down by my bed, I had a sinking feeling that I was not going to be able to sleep before I got a chance to test my theory. I could just sense it. No, my bones told me. I sighed and rolled into my back, fully dressed. I stared at the ceiling for a while. The thick stone walls gave us a great deal of privacy, but I had to strain to hear the slightest indication of the others getting out. We're all getting ready for bed. I thought about cracking open the copy of Medea that Catherine with a C had written for me, but I remembered the subject matter and decided now was not the right time. I had a little prayer. I said a little prayer, asking for some guidance. No wisdom came to me, but then I sheepishly remembered that I had granted an entire vision not long ago. As always, I was asking far too much for doing far too little. I had at least an hour. I stewed in my own thoughts. I tossed and turned, trying to find a position in my bed that didn't get uncomfortable after a few minutes. I scratched itches that weren't really there. I attempted to fluff my pillow into a shape that would grant me sleep, and instantly my head touched it. I just started to get comfortable, I swear, when I heard a strange sound carrying on outside my door. I hopped out of bed and stepped out in the hall. It was almost pitch black out here, save for the embers pulsing in the fireplace. Nobody else, it seemed, was bothered enough by the noise to poke their head out like I had. I sighed. I hoped dimly that if it had been Flora returning to her dorm, I retrieved the lit candle from the mantelpiece. There was no use torturing myself in bed any longer. Now, which room was Flora's? I knew Catherine with a K's room was next to mine and had been a squeaking door. I remembered Moira's room, who had inky paw prints leading out of it, next to Catherine with a K's. Darcy's was at the very end of the row, closest to the earth. I chanced a door I couldn't place. I felt so nosy, but if I could spare myself a horrid adventure into the hall, ever so gently, I pushed the unfamiliar door with my finger. I realized this was not a particularly wise idea. The door swung inward. Not only was it rude, it was conspicuous. I pushed the door in just a little more before thinking better of it. Just before I relented, however, I caught something odd. I could hear at least two people breathing on the other side of this door. They must have been discussing where else to look for Flora, I reasoned, and gone late into the night out of concern. Or perhaps a darker voice in the back of my head suggested they had been scheming into what cruelties to enact on her next. Just then, I heard a startling sound. It had come from far away, but even so, it was blood-curdling. I scampered out of the dormitories and into the landing. I did my best to steel myself. If only I had thought to demand Eustace lend me the sword when I had the courage to stand up to her in the garden. The pricket would have to do. I heard it again. This time it was mixed with what came with the same hair-raising whine I had heard in the cell's hallway. My heart stopped. That was definitely a woman yelling. Screaming? I panicked. Was I too late? I had not told any of the others about my theory. Flora was hiding in my own cell. None of them could know. If Flora was the target of someone's dark machinations the way Catherine had been, with a C, I had to be the one to find her. I picked up the pace and jogged towards the dark hallway's crossing. The huge door was rattling in the wind again, but that wasn't the source of the sound I was chasing. I was definitely coming from the darkest hall, the one of my cell was in, the one the evil sigil was in. I froze for a moment, unsure of what to do. The pride I had felt deducing the one place nobody would have gotten to check had been enough to make me forget about that. The pricket spike could defend me in a pinch if I were to face with Flora's human attacker. But it was as if the devil, summoned by the magic circle, could I go down there alone? Should I arouse the superior? Did I have time to rouse anyone? There was that horrible wail again. It gave me my answer. However small, however vulnerable, however powerless I felt, I knew that there was no time to double back. Demonic sigils be damned. I was a woman of faith. I could withstand whatever summoned. I sprinted down the hall into the darkness. My candle blew out almost instantly, but I didn't have time to care. I ripped the wax off the pricket to expose the sharp point. It wasn't much, but this would have served as my sword for now. I rushed headlong towards the terrible sound, clutching the candle pricket with both hands as if it were wielding a mighty claymore. A face rushed out of the darkness.
Wig! Run!
It all happened so quickly to me that I resisted and I had been correct. Flora blew past me, nearly knocking me over. I did not have time to ask what was happening. I could hear the terrifying stomp of those boots echoing throughout the halls. We sprinted through the black hall of the dim light ahead of us and turned toward the giant rattling door. Flora